right, so I've been trashing some pioneers in psychology. I've got one that's been requested by a few people. So that means this guy's time has come. All right, so today the resident teenager is here to give a first impression. So what do you think?
My man just woke up from a really, really long nap and he does not know where he is.
Fair enough. Okay, some more pictures.
Oh my god, this guy looks like a high school teacher. He looks like he'd teach you history and he'd be really nice, but the minute you guys have like a substitute teacher, the next day he's coming in and he's hitting you with the... I'm really disappointed in you guys.
All right, now, the one thing you might notice is that he's old.
Yeah, he looks like if you went into the dictionary and looked up old man, that's what you would see. This is your grandfather. This is everyone's grandfather.
All right, so I did try to find...
But not the racist one, thank God.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, no.
All right, so I did try to find some young pictures.
All right, my mom told me not to read the caption. My man looks like a commentary YouTuber. Dude, he looks like every politician. No, he looks like a dentist. He looks like a dentist. He has the stereotypical round glasses. Another person who looks like their nose would come off with the glasses. Yeah, no, he looks like how I draw people. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Also, skinny tie, dude. What did you do?
It might have been the fashion.
Whoa, what is that caption? Hold on.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're gonna talk about.
Okay.
Yeah. So, this guy is Bruno Bettelheim. Have you ever heard that name before? Okay, I'm not surprised. Even a lot of psychology students haven't these days heard of it. Have you ever heard the term refrigerator mother? All right, we're going to get to that. I just want to see your reaction. It was a very dominant idea in the 20th century that autism was caused by cold mothers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was expecting it to be like the new autism treatment. Put your child in the freezer.
Nope. But yeah, that's how people become autistic. Yeah.
Oh.
So we are going to talk about Bruno. I'm sorry. Okay. So we're going to talk about Bruno Bettelheim. And we could talk about many things. Before we get to the accusations of plagiarism, falsifying his credentials, possibly, accusations of abuse of students, colleagues, and patients, we're going to talk about just his idea. What idea did he put out into the world? All right, so we have this idea, the refrigerator mother theory. He did not come up with this, but he's really the one who popularized the idea. We can trace this idea back to Freud, and also the, I'm flashing. All right, so we also have, I think his first name was Leon, but Kanner. Kanner was the one who came up with the term refrigerator mother. And then also they were working with a Yahtzee, all right, Yahtzee scientist, medical theorist, Hans Asperger. You might have heard that name before. They did name a disorder after him, but now that disorder is not recognized as a separate disorder. It's recognized under the umbrella term autism spectrum disorder. We don't like that term because he was a Yahtzee, among other things. His idea of separating this disorder out had, problematic justification. So Bettelheim did not come up with the term, but he popularized it. He was very good about promoting his work in the media, and he would use this term, and the term became very popular. It became accepted almost as a truth, and that I wasn't alive during this time, 40s and part of the 70s I was alive. But my understanding is a lot of people just kind of accepted that autism was caused by mothers being cold and indifferent, and that's how the symptoms developed. I mean, this is a gross oversimplification. And it is important to point out that when I say autism, nowadays autism is a larger umbrella term. You recognize the entire spectrum. Originally, at the time that this idea was going around, to be diagnosed with autism, you had to have very specific, severe symptoms. A lot of people diagnosed with autism were nonverbal or had very limited verbal skills. you know, they would not be the ones who like are on TikTok now talking about living with autism, autism spectrum disorder. All right, so just let's point that out. So, and so a lot of people explain the idea of how this idea could come about is you would meet with the parents of a child who comes in. They're like, we don't know why our child is acting so odd. It's like they're in their lone little bubble. They're not learning how to speak. They don't make eye contact. They do all these idiosyncratic behaviors. They only play by themselves. You know, what's going on with their child? And someone like a psychologist, psychiatrist, etc., they would say, it's weird how, you know, this mother, and they would focus on the mother because that's a long tradition you can trace back to Freud, the tradition of mother blaming in psychiatry and psychology. And so they would notice, hey, she doesn't like, you know, she's not warm and loving and affectionate. She doesn't like hug her child and speak to her child endearingly. It's like this mother seems very cold. I bet that cold mother led to the child developing this syndrome, this condition. All right, well, now people can easily say, well, let's think about bidirectionality. Let's think about how things can bounce off each other, cause each other. You can have multiple directions of causality. Well, think about being a parent to a child with, you know, very severe autism symptoms. You try to snuggle them and hug them. They don't want it. Not only are they possibly indifferent to it, it can be actually like upsetting or painful to some folks with, you know, extreme sensory issues. They're like, please don't do that to me. And so, and also things like trying to make eye contact. If their child doesn't give eye contact back, you're not really reinforced for doing it. And they don't learn how to speak. They have language delays, so you're not speaking to them because you get less and less reinforcement. So a lot of people say that a lot of this can just be explained by parents not being rewarded, not being rewarded, not being reinforced for any attempts to be anything other than indifferent and cold with their child. All right. So, and we also have to keep in mind that, you know, early in the 20th century and in the middle of the 20th century, we just didn't know enough at the time about neuroscience, cognitive science, genetics. You know, we just didn't know enough to allow us to explain things in any way other than what is happening to this person to make them develop this disorder. I mean, that was just we've talked about behaviorism before, very dominant in the 20th century, the idea that you are the product of your experiences. So they looked for some experience that seemed to be common among these children that were exhibiting symptoms of autism. And so this idea, the refrigerator mother idea, was not debunked until the 70s. Rimland did a decent job just basically showing us that that's not the way to think about autism. Now, in addition to popularizing this harmful idea of the refrigerator mother, we also have some accusations. A lot of them came out after his death. He did die by suicide at the age of, I want to say like 86, something like that. And after his death, a lot of stories started coming out. And so we have accusations of fraudulent academic credentials. It says in, you know, like if you Google him, it'll say, I believe, Austrian psychologist. But we don't have evidence that he ever actually had a degree in psychology. We have only ever been able to find evidence that he took 3 undergraduate psychology courses. He did have a degree in either art history or philosophy or something similar. Now, some people have said this may be because at the time, he ran an institute for treating autism. At the time, there were no qualifications for who was allowed to do that, and also his teaching position, they didn't have any like written down specified requirements about academic background. So it might not be that he falsified, it might be that people just assumed and, you know, he didn't correct them. But technically, he was not a psychologist, or at least we don't have evidence that he was. You know, he did come over from Europe because of World War II events. So things might have gotten lost or never written down, you know, things like that. So we don't know. Now, allegations of patient abuse. There are enough of these reports being shared that lots of people have concerns about possible abuse towards patients. Plagiarism, one of his best known books, there is evidence that he plagiarized it. And then just general conduct that was questioned. So, if you, like me, are a family member or parent to people with autism and people imply that something about your family caused it, you can largely thank this guy for that.